gate!
Nobody gets in! Zevlor's orders!
That pack of goblins will be on us any second!
What's going on?
Goblins are on our tail! Open the gate, Zevlor, now!
You let goblins here? Where is the druid?
Please! There's no time!
By the nine hells! Open the gates! Cannon! No!
Shit! Form a line!
Damnable roach! Provoke the blade! And suffer its sting.
Go on. Give me a best shot. Not bad. Again.
I can't do it. I'm not like you.
Umi, I don't need you to be like me. You just have to buy enough time to run. Come on. I believe in you. You can do this. You're on the right path, Umi. Go on now. Practice what you've learned. Well met. The Blade of Frontiers at your...
The man's smile bends downward, and his thoughts become yours. You are the Blade of Frontiers, racing through the wastes of Avernus. Just ahead, a diabolical figure, red skin, single curled horn, blazes with flame, bloodied great axe held high.
Hell's great fires. You were on the ship. You saw her then. Advocatus Diaboli. Her name is Karlach, an archdevil soldier I swore on my good eye to kill. I tracked her through the hells to the Mind Flayer ship, but the damned Illithids infected me before I could end her. She's out there now, preying on the innocent. I don't kill her, she'll leave behind nothing but a trail of corpses. I'd be a fool if it didn't. I know the stories. Doomed to shed my skin, become a Illithid, and there's no coming back. But I haven't sprouted any tentacles. Least not yet, thank Baldurin. Could just be good luck. But sooner or later, it's bound to run out. I like your thinking. Besides, I watched you fight at the gate. I could use an ally like you. Ready when you are.
The famous Blade of Frontiers in the flesh. Clever, this hero act you've got going.
Hero, Blade. Names strangers gave me. My friends call me Wyll.
Excellent. If we ever become friends, I'll know what to call you.
One horn. The stink of Avernus. Advocatus Diaboli.
Well, I'll be God's damned. The Blade of Frontiers. Thought I'd shaken you for good. That'll teach me to underestimate you. Bloody right. An honor to be chased by the Blade of Frontiers, but I...
A great heat roars through you. Her heat, fiery as the hells. Then you're lost in visions of demonic armies as you tear through a landscape of fire and blood, the Blood War. You saw it from above as the Nautiloid passed through Avernus. This woman was on the front line.
What was that?
Evidence. Proof that you're a devil. A gladiator in the Archdevil Zariel's army.
I can explain, but it's a whole situation. If you just hear me out...
Another vision. Karlach's blade raised, slicing through devils, Zariel's servants, as her eyes dart around, seeking escape. Her rage and desperation seep into you. She is a victim of the Blood War, not an agent of it.
She's trying to trick us. Don't believe her lies.
You saw the truth. I never wanted to serve Zariel. I was enlisted in her army against my will. Forced to fight, and fight I did. When I saw an opportunity to get away, I took it. Finally home. Or near it, anyway.
You served her. That's enough to damn you.
Wyll catches his breath and his lips straighten. Sheer dread twists his face.
You don't know what you're saying. You're asking me to trust a devil.
Listen to sense now. I don't want this to end badly for either of us. You know monsters, right? Better than anyone. Look into my eyes. Can't you see I'm not what you think?
Shit. You really are no devil, are you? I've been deceived.
Oh, thank the gods. Thought I was gonna have to take your head.
You would have died in the attempt. But there have been enough threats today.
Truce then, eh?
Aye. Truce.
I'm Karlach, but you already knew that. And you are... Well met, soldier. Nice to meet a friendly around here. It's been tough going so far. I may not be a devil, but I can put the Blade's reputation to work. How would you feel about helping me kill some evil bastards? Little background, if your moral compass needs something to point at. You already know I fought in the Blood War. I was good. Really good. It turns out I've got a knack for killing demons. That made me a valuable asset. Zariel, the archdevil herself, made me as her personal attack dog. I played along until I could get the fuck out of there. But devils don't like to lose their assets. Zariel liked it so little. She sent a bunch of goons, so-called paladins of Tyr, to take me back. Problem is, I'm not going. Fuck yes! They cornered me outside the toll house just up the hill. Doubt they've gone far after the scorching I gave them. Then we can work on evicting this parasite and take Faerun by the short hairs. Sound good?
She's, perhaps a little rough around the edges. But I suppose I can be smooth enough for two.
I'd hug you if it wouldn't scorch your skin off. Whew. I'm getting all het up. Let's make tracks. So, Wyll, now that we've made peace, how about we get to know each other properly? What's your story?
Not so much a story as a pantomime. And I've played my part all too poorly.
I would too. Go on, Wyll. We're listening. Who sicked you on me?
You're not the only one who's had a villain's knife held to your throat, Karlach.
You make it sound like a harvest of devils coming for you, Wyll.
You're closer than you know. One night soon when we make camp, the veil will be lifted, and I'll face my penance. You're not in any danger, I promise. I can't say the same about me. Hellsfire. She's coming.
Wyll, you've been naughty. And you know what happens when you're naughty.
God damn it. Anyone but her.
Wyll, you absolute stinker. You kept me a secret? Time to let the Hellcat out of the bag. Call me Mizora. I'm Wyll's patron, the fount of his power. My pet's been unruly, and his leash needs a yank. We had a deal, Wyll. But Karlach's still breathing.
I've taken more pleasant shits than you, Mizora. And at least those can be buried after.
That's no kind of talk for a lady. By the way, Karlach, Zariel sends her regards.
You told me! Devils only! She's a tiefling, not a monster!
How precious. The little pupster's found his bark.
Clause G, Section 9. Target shall be limited to the infernal, the demonic, the heartless, and the soulless.
Karlach meets the criteria, pet. Trust me on this. The point? Oh, yes. Thanks for the reminder.
Wyll burns in the fires of Avernus. The lightning storms of Dis strike his flesh. His soul passes through each layer of the hells, gaining their essence and their torment.
That's better.
What the hells have you done?
A promise broken, a price paid. You know the terms.
Get used to the new form, pet.
There's no going back. Some magic even I can't undo. Now, let's see how the frontiers fare without their precious blade. Karlach, keep an eye on him, would you? I'll be keeping mine on you. Oh, and Wyll, don't forget, our pact still stands. Ta-ta.
I'd like some time to talk.
Gods damn her, straight back to the hells. Just look at me. I did what was right, and Mizora made me pay for it. I'd be hunting devils and demons, she said. Traitors and hypocrites, heartless evils of all sorts, but not Zariel's victims. Not innocent tieflings.
Warlock pacts tend to be unforgiving from what you know of them. Wyll was lucky he didn't face a more severe punishment.
All these years. You'd think it's a lesson I'd have well learned. It's Mizora who grants me the power to conjure armor and cast eldritch blasts. Before I was infected, I could even call hell beasts and summon festering clouds. But I promise you, every thrust of my blade and every flame I sparked was for the good of the coast. The one little question that put me out of house and home. I can't utter the terms or circumstances of the pact. I can tell you most all else, but the pact, I'm forbidden. unless Mizora permits it. But I'll say this. The moment I pacted myself to Mizora, I have not regretted for a heartbeat. It was my proudest deed. It was worth the sacrifice. All I can give you on that is my solemn word. The goblins still infest the roads. As long as their leaders live, Zevlor's people are trapped. My father once said, "One does not pursue a champion's life. One merely answers its call." So it was for me. I was hunting near the Cloakwood when I heard it. A child crying out from a lone farmstead. I found him in the fields, flanked by goblins. His mother's corpse bled into the soil next to him. I don't remember much of the battle, but I remember drying the boy's tears after. Proud? No. Angry. Angry at the monsters preying on innocents. Angry at the so-called good gods for tolerating the cruelty of the evil. Angry at myself that it took so long for me to see the coast suffering. The frontiers demanded a blade, and so I heeded. Baldurs Gate, born and raised, the only son of a single father. He wanted one life for me. I chose another. We haven't spoken since I left the city. A classic drama, a staunch father and his rebellious son. Better heard from the bard's lips than mine. It's said that anyone who bathes in the river of blood emerges as one born anew. It's a lot like that, I imagine. I feel the weight of these horns on my head, curling upwards like a mammoth's tusks. I feel these ridges snaking down my neck, not to mention a few bumps and prongs in unmentionable places. But I haven't seen my reflection just yet. Be my mirror. What do you see? I can't tell if you're being silly or serious. I'll accept the flattery either way. I suppose I'll grow used to the new me, horns and all. The people will see a curiosity, maybe even a beast hungry for their souls. But I will slay their monsters, keep them safe, and one day they will see the Blade of Frontiers again. A possibility that's kept me awake countless nights. But I don't have a clue where to start, other than play her games and play by the rules. That's the only language devils listen to. It could well be. She has the blighted thing. What I know of it is simply what has engraved itself upon my memory. My contract is very clear. I can bring Mizora no harm. She'll have to let me out of my pact willingly. The only way out is if I can out-bargain her. We're standing here with nothing but the clothes on our backs and the worms in our heads. We can, I'm sure of it. How glad I am that you see me as more than my patron's pet. I had a dream last night. A vivid one. And so did you, judging from the way my tadpole is tingling. Someone came to me and promised to protect me while claiming that the parasite could empower me. Tempting as these powers sound, we should recognize this dream for what it is, the tadpole's little trick. No good ever came from trusting honey-tongued strangers conjured up by illithid worms. Well said. This dream figure is no friend to us. Hells. I was hoping you wouldn't notice I was gone. Really? I'm honored. In truth, I don't feel in a festive mood, and I didn't want to cast a gray cloud over the night. I'm a devil. I love the people from the Grove, but I unsettle them deep down. as I seem to unsettle everyone nowadays. You don't want a devil at your party. Horns this sharp will pop the balloons, you see, and the guests won't take kindly to scars quite so monstrous. If only half the world had half the heart you do. But, off with you. This is your day. Have a dance. Enjoy the music. In truth, I always enjoyed a bit of pomp. I once beat the Baldurs record for the most sarabands danced in a single evening, much to the exhaustion of the good ladies and gentlemen of the gate. I had years of lessons, but in truth, it's all about your partner. You cut quite a fine figure. I can just imagine leading you with an entire ballroom watching. But who am I fooling? I can't go back to that life. Maybe, but not tonight. Tonight is about you. There will be another time for us.
The buzz of celebration quiets to a soothing hum as you approach your bunk. You've picked up a few pleasant memories on your journey amongst your struggles. Somewhere in the corner of your heart, you suspect he might be dreaming of you, too.
Shit. You can put distance between you and yesterday, but you'll never leave it fully behind. Father's words. Hard to argue with them. Floric spoke true. I'm a Grand Duke's son. More than worried in truth. What makes a Duke of Baldurs Gate so interesting to the Drow? Even the houses of Menzo Baranzan would have little use for my father. No, this is no Drow plot. These absolute nutters, these true souls are behind his abduction. His absence alone will sow chaos in the city. If they were to infect him, he could lead Baldurs Gate to ruin. All the more reason to find him. The Absolute has seized not just my father, but the future of the Sword Coast. I know, and you're right. My story is one of two men. The Blade of Frontiers, a man hunting the fiends who prey on the weak and claw at the coast. And Wyll Ravengard, a memory of a memory, a man who belongs to the past. I wanted you to know the Blade, not the shadow he left behind. Since the party, I've had a spring in my step. And I've got you to thank. I'm sure we will. And when the time comes, I've got something in mind. Now, no prodding. You don't want to spoil the surprise. But I'll say this. It'll be worth the wait. My first tour of a Githyanki creche. Memorable, to be certain, but the service left something to be desired. Not so enchanting as you'd think. The Portiers, the Caldwells, they were the blue bloods hosting the fancy balls and drinking from gold goblets. Father's the son of a blacksmith, born with barely a coin in the coffers. He made a name for himself among the Flaming Fist. Brave as Balduran, stubborn as a deep Rothay. Daring, outspoken, but hardly posh. I spent more time dueling with father than I did rubbing elbows with lords. Not to say I didn't develop a taste for good wine and a talent for courtly dance. Yes and no. Father taught me the 4 pillars of power: courage, insight, strategy, justice. He reckoned I'd follow in his footsteps. First as a fist marshal, then as a duke. Vanquish evil, maintain order, save the world. But a duke makes bedfellows with more monsters than he slays. Father called it diplomacy. I called it hypocrisy. In the frontiers, there is no posturing, no diplomacy. I slay monsters, I don't consort with them. Even if I might look like one.
Playtime's over, pet.
Oh, I love this time of year. The dickheads start popping up wherever you look.
What do you want, Mizora?
Drop the attitude and perk up your ears. You've got a new mission. Absolute's cult has gone and grabbed one of Zariel's assets. A devil. And a powerful one at that. They're locked up in the cult's fortress, Moonrise Towers. And you're getting him out. Ahem. Clause Z, Section 13. Should promised soul refuse obeyance or neglect duty, the pact holder shall cast the promised into Avernus as a lemure. I'll make it simple. Wyll fails or refuses, and he turns to a thick blob of stink flesh and sinks to Avernus. Now, be a good boy and play fetch, pup, or you'll spend an eternity sizzling in the hells.
Mizora's words may be flippant, but they are tinged with desperation. She cannot afford for Wyll to fail this mission. This may be your best chance to negotiate Wyll out of his pact.
Oh, and what condition is that?
Your mind links with Wyll's, drawn in by his increasing panic.
What are you doing?
Wyll relaxes, and your connection fades.
Interesting. Now, why should I go letting my favorite pet off his leash?
You recall an old incantation from a children's story, said to void a devil's contract. Abi diabole et nunquam redi.
Incredible. You actually think you hold the winning hand? Fine. I'll play your game. But I amend the pact once the mission's done, not before. Clause F, Section 9. Soulbinder shall bestow reward or favor only upon soul-bearer's fulfillment of related obligation. Now, to Moonrise, pet. And do mind the shadows. They've been especially hungry.
The more bullshit she pours, the more of it I'm forced to swallow. Mizora set me on fiends inside and outside the Hells. She's never ordered a rescue.
Gods. She makes a mockery of everything the Blade stands for. Such an asshole.
Thank you for sticking your neck out for me. I mean it, but I'm not going to celebrate till I'm actually free. Can already feel her scheming. She won't let me go without a fuss. Trust me on this. Not a one. All that matters is that we free it. Fail, and I'm made a mindless blob clawing at demons on the front lines of the Blood War.
Were I a less considerate man, this is where I'd remind you of the importance of reading the fine print. But fear not. I shall bite my tongue.
Yes, unless Mazora actually fulfills her promise and sets me free. I always knew what my future held, and I know I chose right. Oh, sorry. I didn't see you standing there. Lost in the steps, truth be told. I need them to be just right. I wouldn't want to fail my new partner. As luck would have it, she just arrived. May I have this dance? Bravo! Bravo! Now, perhaps we might try a more intimate style. So much shadow around us. To think I almost missed the light. Well, it's getting late. We can't face the morrow if we don't bid farewell to the now. I've drunk wines from Daggerford to Cormyr, but I've never known a taste as rich as yours. Gods damn it! You almost make me forget myself. But I still keep faith in the old tales of love. The once upon a times and the happily ever afters. I'd like to do this the proper way. The way of the old romances sung by the bards. Till next time, good night, and dream sweetly.
By Balduran's helm, I wish we could have danced forever. Since we don't have forever, I wager the memory will have to do. Indeed. I shiver just thinking about it. That day can't come soon enough.
Unusual. Harvesting all the love.
Mazora, you're Zariel's asset.
My dumb little stinker. Took you long enough. Now, by Grazit's cock, get me out of this thing!
I'll do it, and you'll set me free. That was the deal.
Yeah. So, get to it already.
The controls are open to your tadpole's command, to your authority. The symbol's meaning comes into focus. Annihilate. You decipher the symbol. It's an illithid sigil, meaning unleash.
You did all right, Wyll. I'd give your belly a good rub, but never could stand the smell.
You're free, Mazora. I held up my end. Now you hold up yours. Sever the pact.
Clause Z, Section 13. If the Soulbinder consents to separation, she will release the Soulbearer from all obligation within 6 months.
6 months? Gods damn you!
Ignorant thing. It's always the terms and conditions that get you. Well, I imagine you have business in Moonrise to take care of. If I were you, I'd get moving. Don't you fret. I'll find you soon enough. You're going to need me. Count on it. Oh, and go ahead. Tell your chums how we met. It's a real cracker of a tale. Ta-ta.
Zariel's asset was none other than Mazora herself. Of course. Tricks on top of tricks on top of tricks. But I've only got 6 months before I'm made a free man. Thanks be to the Triad. No, scratch that. Thanks be to you. First, we kill Ketheric Thorm. Then, I'll tell you everything you want to know. Gods be damned. With that parasite in his brain, Father could wreak untold havoc in the Absolute's name. Should Baldurs Gate fall to the Absolute, every one of the coast cities will be ripe for the plucking. We're not just fighting for our cure. We're fighting for my father. We're fighting for the Gate. We're fighting for all of Faerun. Worm's Rock Fortress. All travelers to Baldur's Gate flow through it. It serves as headquarters for the Flaming Fist and their commander, my father. The Absolute's army's on the march. Gods forbid a tadpole Grand Duke throw open the gates for them. Orin, I'd never heard tell of. But Gortash I know. Or know of, more precisely. A self-styled strategic advisor to Baldurs Gate's peers. A bit player with dreams of a leading role, the way Father told it. He had no use for Gortash, and even less for his advice. I don't remember much beyond that. But where these Chosen are concerned, I have a suspicion we're about to know more than we'd like. As would I, and more. I was 17. Father, older Ravengard, had just been named a Grand Duke, and was called away to Elturel to help settle a dispute. That's when the cult of the dragon made its move. A religion devoted to conjuring the most evil of goddesses. The dragon Tiamat. A 10-day after Father left, I heard a whisper as I slept. Duskhawk Hill. The Queen of Chaos awakens. Go alone. I grabbed a rapier and set out. There wasn't a cloud in the sky, yet not a single star was shining. There they were, gathered at the foot of the hill.
Your head tingles. Wyll wants to show you what happened. In the looming shadow of the mount, 5 groups of 5 figures each encircle a lofty totem. Atop each totem, a dragon's head is carved, and a massive orb held in its mouth. The cultists chant, first softly, then crying to the starless sky. There is a crack of thunder, a gust of wind, and a dragon's white head appears in the storm. The first of Tiamat's 5 heads. As the maelstrom howls, Mizora's lips press to your ear. She will destroy Baldurs Gate. Grant me your soul, and I will give you the power to save it, she whispers.
She read the terms while 2 devils stood witness, and I said yes. 1 soul for 1 city. I don't know that it was brave. I just know that it was right. The moment I agreed, I burned with the fires of Avernus and oozed the rot of Dis. The cultists choked on our poisons and burned from our flames. And when we were done, all that remained were 5 grayed orbs atop a pile of ash. My soul was bound, and my lips were sealed. It is the one scar I ever bore of it. Mizora replaced it with a sending stone. She uses it to track my location and speak from a distance. I could flee to the spine of the world, or the depths of the lower dark, and still never shake her. She didn't. She came on order of her mistress, Zariel.
She never stops, does she? Not for a second.
Tiamat made a play for power. Zariel had other plans. That was the most Mizora's ever said. All that mattered was that she got her prize. Another pet added to her warlock menagerie. He returned to an unsuspecting city and a wayward son with a smirking devil at his side. I tried to tell him the truth, but my mouth couldn't form the words. I'd led him to the battlefield, but Mizora had swept it clean. I showed him my stone eye, but he only turned away. After, he said only one word. Go. So I did. I understand. No, never. He did the only thing he could. In his eyes, I invited a devil into our midst. I was a fool at best, a traitor at worst, and Grand Duke Ravengard suffers neither. And I went and proved him right. A Grand Duke's duty is to his city, first and foremost. There would only ever be one outcome. Men, women, children, all barred from entry. A damn travesty. A decade ago, Baldurs Gate would have welcomed any and everyone seeking refuge. Who would take in these souls, if not the Jewel of Baldurin? As long as Gortash is in charge, they'll be left shivering at the gates. All part of the plan, of course. Step 1. Create an army and order it to march on the city. Step 2. Shut the gates in the name of security. Step 3. Bask in the applause. Gortash hasn't made Baldur's Gate safe. He's made it a prison. And when his army breaks through, the people will have nowhere to run. To make this city a safe haven, we'll need to bathe Gortash and his allies in their own blood.
If it isn't little Wyll, straight to your handler. And I didn't even have to whistle.
Mizora, I've had enough. You owe your life to me. Time to end the pact.
Feeling cheeky, are we? Most unbecoming. Heard about your father. The Absolute's puppet. A damned travesty, if you ask me. He's upstairs in Worm's Rock, ordaining Gortash as Archduke. A splendid party, I hear. Perfect for crashing. Go on up. We'll talk after. What did I tell you? A momentous occasion. I'm sure you agree.
I've had enough, Mizora. What do you want?
Your attention, little pup. Nothing more. And you'll be glad to give it. You see, Gortash has had your father relocated. To the slaughter, the way I hear it.
Shit.
Your dad's good as dead, pup. And to think, there's no way to save him. Or is there?
You know something.
I know enough. I'll be in your camp if you want to work something out.
Of course she'd stick her infernal nose where it doesn't belong. Of course she's dreamt up some risible scheme. By all the hounds of the hells, what is she planning? Certainly not. But she's as inevitable as Torril's path around the sun. We'll have answers soon enough. Mizora's gone to camp. We should speak with her. Until then, may my father keep safe, whatever coop he's been flown to. I met her twice. The first time, I was a boy of 7 or 8, at a banquet in the Flaming Fist's honor. One look and I was smitten. Chestnut hair that flowed behind her like willow fronds, as she floated from one room to the next as if carried by clouds. The second time, Stelmane was different. Even with the aid of a cane, each step she took was a struggle. Every word she spoke took great physical effort. A stroke victim? I asked father later. No, he said. A stroke survivor.
You sense uncertainty in Will's voice. He questions his father's explanation. You sense uncertainty in Wyll's voice. He questions his father's explanation.
Something's always gnawed at me. At the banquet, Stelmane didn't seem to look at us, but through us. But that second time, her gaze never left me. It was steel, sharp and unyielding. It could just be my imagination, but I always felt that it was more than a stroke that had changed her. What, though? I couldn't say. Not a tragedy, a calculated cruelty. Think about it. My father was Tadpole. Stelmane is dead. The people are frightened and the council's in disarray. To exert control, you must first sow chaos. A tyrant's strategy, as father would say. These murders aren't random acts. Someone powerful is guiding the killer's hand, and the city is made weaker for it. Well met. My favorite subject. How to answer a question with so many layers as that? You are the red of the sunrise, the yellow of high noon, and the orange of sundown. If you were a song, I'd never stop singing. If you were a psalm, I'd never stop praying. You make a damn fun dance partner, too. As if you needed to ask.
Sorore surge, testis esto pacti me. Come, sisters, be my testament. Notum sit in beator.
Notum sit in beator.
Holy hells.
I come to bargain. The hells demand witness.
Enough, Mizora. Where is my father? How do I save him?
How else? We bargain. Sisters.
Infernos contractos te vocamus. Infernos contractos te vocamus. Infernos contractos te vocamus.
Your contract, Wyll. Signed in blood, forged in fire, bound in bone, but not unbreakable. No contract is ended without sacrifice. A cost must be paid. Wyll Ravengard, a choice is before you. Option 1. I show you the way to your father. I guarantee him no harm except that from you and your allies. And you pledge your soul to me and the Archdevil Zariel in a pact eternal. Option 2. I break your pact, and you are freed from your duty. Your father dies by his enemy's hand, and Baldurs Gate loses its greatest champion. Name your sacrifice.
Bloody Zariel. I won't let her take Wyll.
Silence, Karlach.
Mizora, you asshole!
Choose.
You damned wretch! Father. Do it. Break the pact.
Fiat ita. Fiat ita. Anima ad beator.
Didn't think you had it in you. Seems my boy's all grown up. And don't go fussing about your father. You made your choice. You knew the terms. You know what? I think I'll stick around. Not for the greater good, you understand. Just for the entertainment.
Gods, I spent 7 years choked by Mazora's leash. And I spent 7 years hoping to break free. I never knew freedom could taste so bittersweet. I have to believe that. I'm not the Hell's puppet in life, nor its warrior in death. The blade will be guiding his own hand. But freedom will be paid in my father's blood. Tomorrow, I celebrate my gain. Today, I mourn my loss.
A moment passes. In the stillness, you find a mote of tranquility.
The Raven Guard name now lives solely with me. I will make it count for something. I signed his life away before the Hell's witnesses. It would be easier to drink the Styx down to the last drop than to alter his fate. I'd be a fool to wish otherwise. We obtain the final 2 nether stones and take back our minds, and the city, from the brain.
Wyll Ravengard, the stain of Baldurs Gate. To think your father's blood flows through those damnable veins.
Cordula Eltan? By the 9 hells, what are you on about?
Lady Mazora told me everything. How you slaughtered your own father. How you crave his power. How you mean to make the city bow to you and you alone.
That meddling ghoul! Eltan,
Shut it! My family's duty is to Baldur's Gate. I won't have the Hell's errand boy poison my city! Stand down! I believe you. The Battle Lord help me. What darkness has fallen upon us? Wyll, there's something you should know. On his way from Elturel, Ravengard sent a messenger with word of the cult. He knew about the Absolute. I thought little of it at first, but as usual, he realized the danger before anyone else did. He understood that if the cult would be successful in raising an army, Baldur's Gate would be doomed. And he knew that to protect the city, one trained in the ways of the champion would have to rouse the worm living beneath. If I'm not mistaken, that would be you. A bronze dragon, to be precise. He sleeps beneath us, even now, awaiting a hero to rouse him. The worm goes by many names. Ansor, the waiting storm, the heart of the gate. He promised Balduran he'd protect the city if ever its existence was threatened, but just the once. Since then, the city faced countless threats, but the Baldurians overcame them all. There was never any need to call upon the worm. Until now. This is the greatest threat Baldur's Gate ever faced. Your father was right. We need Ansor's help. With him gone, the worm's awakening now falls to you. Take this, the legend of Ansor. The bards call it a tall tale, but every last word is true. Let it set the path before you. Thank you. In darkness, I see your light. I should go, gather allies. We'll join you in your hour of need. Free the worm. Let his tempest swallow the Absolute and its allies. May Lady Tymora smile upon you.
Curse that rotten devil and her forked tongue, trying to set Eltan against me. She's a damnable inferno of chaos. What matters now is that Eltan saw sense, and we know our path forward. We'll finish what my father couldn't. We'll awaken Ansur, the heart of the gate. I do, and so did my father. Go on, read the legend of Ansur. Then we can plan our next steps. Mind flayers are like devils. They just sport tentacles rather than wings. Clever, manipulative, exploitative. The Emperor says he's a friend. I think we'd be fools to believe him. And maybe it's true. Maybe Stelmane allied with a mind flayer and subjected the city to their political will. Or maybe he made an offer she couldn't refuse.
Wyll, my pet, I was hoping you'd bound along. A bargain's a bargain, and I've come to see it through. Mia Furia. Kneel for me.
What are you doing?
Exactly what you asked for. Now, stand back and enjoy the show.
Calmness greets you upon exiting the submersible. Unlike the Iron Throne, you remain intact. So it seems will the families of all the hostages rescued from the throne. Duke Ravengard approaches you, looking confused.
He's tadpoled, but under my protection now, just like you. His mind is his own again.
Father?
Wyll. Gods, it pains me to look at you. By Baldur's graces, why have the hells ordained you to save me?
Your tadpole resonates with Ravengard's. The exhausted Grand Duke is a flurry of emotion.
By every last hell, son, oh, my head!
Ravengard's head still aches so powerfully the pain seeps into you. The Absolute may be silenced, but the Duke's parasite still remains.
I know you have questions. Please, go to our camp. You'll be safe there. We'll talk soon enough.
Ravengard answers with silence. He and Wyll have much to discuss.
First you cleave my heart in twain, now you shatter it to pieces. My son a monster, twisted beyond recognition. To think my blood flows through those veins. Is this my fate? To be freed from Gortash's hell, only to be trapped in yours?
It isn't what you think. It never was.
You turned your back on me, on your city, to chase the she-devil and her power. She stinks up the place even now. It is exactly what I think.
Ravenguard's tadpole clenches as your memories and wills flow into him.
My tears wounds. I'm in your mind.
The Grand Duke sees Mizora and her infernal sisters. He sees the agony in Will's face as an impossible choice is set before him.
No. My son.
The past becomes present, and Will's thoughts are laid bare. Ravenguard sees Wyll partnering with Mizora to defeat Tiamat's cultists before they could lay siege to Baldur's Gate, and he sees everything beyond. The Nautiloid journey, the perilous path to Moonrise, the astral prism, and the Emperor within.
Well,
everything I did for Baldur's Gate. I did for you.
My son. You sold your soul to save Baldur's Gate, and I cast you out for it. You gave yourself to the Hell's eternal fires so I might walk free. By the gods. Can you ever forgive me?
There's nothing to forgive. You wanted to protect the city. I only ever wanted the same.
You are a better man than most, and a better son than I deserve. I'll yet make amends, but my duty is first and foremost to the city and its people. There's something I must ask of you. Before I was captured, I was on a mission. Returning from Elturel, I discovered the plans of the Absolutists. I immediately realized the city couldn't defend itself against such an army. I didn't despair, because the city has a secret guardian, a worm that sleeps beneath. He can be called upon in times of great need. This is such a time. You've been trained in the ways of the great champions and proven to be one of them. The worm will answer your call. You must seek him out.
Courage, insight, strategy, justice. I remember them well. You made me recite them every morning.
So you do. And I thought you'd abandoned them. More fool me. The worm goes by many names. Ansur, the waiting storm, the heart of the gate. He promised Balduran he'd protect the city if ever its existence was threatened. But just the once. Since then, the city has faced countless threats, but we always overcame. There was never a need to call on the worm. Until now. The Absolute is the greatest threat Baldur's Gate ever faced. The worm must be awakened, and the task falls to you. Take this. The legend of Ansur. An ancient epic. Ill-remembered. Dismissed as a mere tale. Let it set the path before you. Thank you. And may the city know the truth of my only son. Pride of Ravengard. Pride of Baldur's Gate.
We'll finish what my father couldn't. We'll awaken Ansur, the heart of the gate. O Balduran, founder due veneration.
His guardian dragon Ansur, tremendous in worth. A savior below, our eternal elation. It's not just a tale, it's a history. Consider this. To Wormway 'neath prison's deepest level. That must mean Worm's rock prison. That's where we'll find the entrance to this Wormway. Then this. With the shock of a true hero's spark flickers, the torches alight, and Worm's eyes shall awake a glitter. To open the way, we'll need to spark torches. This dragon Ansur was Balduran's ally. We'd be fools to let him sleep while the Dead Three's chosen raised the city. It's complicated. There's the joy of reconciliation, the relief of forgiveness, and the anxiety of new expectation. It's a flurry of emotion. I'm not sure how to make sense of it. Relief. My last 7 years have been defined by the secrets I carried. I feel light as a feather now that I've shed them. When I left the city, my father saw only a boy carrying the stench of the hells. Now, he sees the man I made of myself. Once all this is ended, once we've crushed the brain and freed the people, I could once more call Baldurs Gate home. Whether I return there, well, only time will tell. It's funny. As the Blade, I've faced untold brutes and beasts. Together, we've seen illithid horrors most souls could merely fathom. I lived at the mercy of fiends, a devil's plaything trying to right the coast's wrong. But I've only now come to see who my true enemy's been. So you'd think, but the right answer is much simpler than that. Time. Time is so goddamned greedy. It can never give, only take. It builds mountains and deserts only to tear them asunder. It fells armies. It conquers kings, queens, even gods. We blink and we're gone. And our hopes, our memories, our heart bonds are gone with us. Lucky for us, I found a way to stop time. If just for a moment. Come, let me show you. The Wilden Oak. Legend has it it stood since the Age of Dawn. I used to come here and climb it when my father's eye was turned elsewhere. Daydream of the stories it might tell if I listened close enough. The Dragon Lords sparking the skies above it. The Moon Elves first plucking the strings of the weave. Standing here, I feel like I can see into forever. I was hoping you'd think so. I've been thinking a lot about forever. More so, I've been thinking about everything that comes before, and who I want at my side as it passes. My mother always said the Wilden Oak's acorns held just a touch of wishing magic. If that be so, then may my greatest wish come true tonight. I love you. Will you be mine today and tomorrow and reaching into eternity? Gods, you've made me the happiest soul in all the realms.
Your skin flushes, and your soul sings as you palm the acorn, wishing magic, affection, love. Whatever the cause, it's as real as the ground beneath you.
Get down here already. It's time we started our happily ever after.
statue before you bears a familiar likeness. It is Balduran, the celebrated adventurer who founded the city of Baldurs Gate.
Peril floods my province. The palisades fall, the earth does tremble. The servants of shadow and blood assemble. Beyond lies the grand worm, deep in slumber, awaiting a true hero's advent, should my domain drown in torment. Be you the deluge, turn away. Be you the hero, answer true. Are you worthy?
Poetic nonsense. There is no worm and no savior.
Ancient Ansur, hear me. A champion is proclaimed. The test begins. Let your judgment follow.
The dragon's spirit floods your mind and memory in a great torrent of power. He is with you. He is within you. He is you. The next words that spill from your mouth are not yours, but the worm's.
I am Ansur, heart of the gate, butchered in flesh, risen in spirit.
Ansur wends his way through your mind like an unstoppable river. Your body is unmoving, yet thought flows effortlessly between you. The spirit pauses, and you feel the astral prism stir. Ansur senses the Emperor's presence within it.
Answer me, Facey. Why have you come?
A deep sigh resonates within you. The torrent stills, only disturbed by the dragon's next words.
Brack, my words aren't meant for you. They're meant for him.
The Emperor stirs in the astral prism, then in you. Calm, curious, and detached.
Your presence has stirred me, as it ever did. I am awakened.
Answer. It's been too long.
Balduran? No. I don't believe it.
We knew each other once, long ago. We crossed the Kalim together and sailed Yal Tengri. We built a city by the sea. Ansur was my friend.
Friend. Yes. And more. Until you killed me. Have you come to dance on my bones, Balduran? Was slaying me not satisfaction enough?
Satisfaction? No. You left me no choice.
You had every choice. You were becoming illithid. I offered you merciful death. You chose to fight. And now you bring your thrall before me. How far has the great Balduran fallen?
Stillness. Ansur's consciousness hovers just above yours, searching, seeing.
Dear Ansur.
Enough! I gave you everything, Balduran. And you repaid me in slaughter. It is time I return the favor. Let my bones rise and the storms gather. Witness Balduran. The final tempest has come. I am the heart of the gate. I am the one who roars. This time, you will not escape it.
bet you're pleased with yourself. Saving Ravengard and making a fool out of me in a single swoop. Go on, do your gloating. You've earned it.
Damn right I did. My father is safe and my chains are broken.
Yes, celebrate your fortunes. But remember that they are lost as quickly as they are gained. For now, you've tipped the scales in your favor. But all it takes is a whisper for me to tip them back. Ravengard will fall. I will strike when the Duke has the most to lose, and I have the most to gain. Clause A, Section 2. Should Soul Holder choose to abandon his patron, he is freed from his duty. His father, Grand Duke Ulder Ravengard, will be thus fated to die by an enemy's hand. A sealed pact is mightier than even Asmodeus's ruby rod. Do you think by merely saving a duke that you were ripping it through? You're such a witless little thing. Laugh in the face of the Archduchess Zariel, and she only laughs back. By all means. Struggle and seethe when I come for Zariel's prize. Play the hero. Put up a fight. But don't forget who signed away his own father's life when Ravengard's finally bled. Why? I'm supplying Wyll with every scrap of his infernal power. I've paid my dues many times over. I tell you what, when the time comes to squish that big baddie of a brain, I'll lend you a hand. Correct. I didn't. If you must know, I was scouting the cultists on behalf of Zariel, but those cursed shadows were thick enough to fell even a half-fiend. I woke in that damned pod. It kept my body sealed and my most powerful magic silenced. But a brave, kind, benevolent soul set me free. Gallantry isn't dead after all. The Absolutists worked a number on me at Moonrise, and you're the best hope I've got at payback. No one crosses the Hell's Children without getting scorched. Ugh, you are an inquisitive one. I'd have thought you'd figured by now. Zariel found a new use for an old battle axe. The dead three in that bulging brain of theirs are a threat to more than this trifling city, you know. Savor her company. Who's to say when Zariel might change her mind? My mistress can be so capricious.
The Absolute's voice is gone, but I still hear its echoes. Reflections of reflections. A terrible fate for Ansur, my son. Yet my hopes for the city's future have never been higher.
I failed, Father. The worm is fallen.
A terrible fate for Ansur, my son. Yet my hopes for the city's future have never been higher.
I don't understand.
You and your allies slayed the undead terror that was once the Great Ansur. You are stronger than even the Great Worm. You will be the one to part the storms and lead the people through. You, not Answer, are the savior we need. First, you will fell the Absolute. Then we will rebuild Baldurs Gate. We will take back our city together. I will name you Baldurs Gate's newest Grand Duke of the Council. You will be hailed Heart of the Gate.
Grand Duke. I look the part of a fiend.
I will tell the citizens and the patriarchs of your good works. They will know you carry your father's banner.
Uncertainty fills the air. Wyll has reached a fork in his path. In which direction will he travel?
Wyll?
I fought to right the wrongs of the coast, to slay the men and monsters that hunt the helpless.
It is in the wilds that I find my courage, not in the halls of upper city estates.
There will be no Grand Duke Wyll Ravengard, and there will be no Blade of Frontiers.
I am now the Blade of Avernus. For as long as demons and devils imperil the Sword Coast, they will be my prey.
Then go with my blessing. Be Faerun's great defender. Courage, insight, strategy, justice. Let these be the lights that guide you, my son. Hail, the Blade of Avernus!
The Blade of Avernus!
A calm settles over you. The Elder Brain is a menace, but with the Blade of Avernus at your side, you know you can triumph.
The Blade of Avernus. A new name for a changed man. The four pillars finally rise within me. Courage, insight, strategy, justice. I'm not to abide them, but to become them.
But enough reflection for today. I'm of a mind to celebrate.
A hearty meal would do the trick. A few hunks of fresh venison, a round of brown ale. What do you say?
Wonderful. You hunt the deer, I'll scrounge up the ale. Prepare your belly for a roast a la Blade. Let's hope Gale doesn't take offense if I assume cooking duties, just the once.
I love the coast. I love its people. The Blade of Avernus will toil for them, but he'd rather not toil alone. Faerun doesn't need just one hero. It needs two. Say you'll fight with me.
Then let it be so. Could any man have wanted a partner more ravishing?
You make me so proud. And when the Elder Brain falls, the people of the Sword Coast will see what I see. A shining star, beckoning them to a brilliant future.
My shining star. Since I've known you, we've shed more blood than could ever fill the Cheon Tha. The wounds we sustained were the testament to our might.
But last night, I swear to you, your touch healed every one of my bruises and wiped away every scar. Through you, I've been born anew.
A moment passes. Wyll's eyes glance up to his horns.
There's something I need to ask you. Something terrible. Something greedy. Something unreasonable. I'm the Blade of Avernus. I swore to cleanse the hells of the devils that threaten the coast. And I know my first target, Mizora. I won't let her claim one more soul, slay one more victim. I'm going to make my way to the hells and tear the horns right off her damned head. I want you to join me. A reasonable person would say no. I still want you to say yes. I knew you'd say yes. All these years as the Blade, I've been called a champion, a hero, a legend. Names I never asked for, praise I never sought. But you've earned the right to be called a hero 1,000 times over. What a gift you've been to the Sword Coast, and what a gift you've been to me. What an honor to walk alongside a true legend. Come. The next page in our saga begins.
When the invitation came, you were hip-deep in Lemur's slime, swarmed by hell wasps, and about to drive the killing blow on a magma claw. Cutting through the dreadful buzz of the wasps and the screams of the damned, a familiar, comforting voice echoed in your mind. Withers, he requested your attendance in Faerun, to gather with your friends and allies, those who stood against the Absolute at your side. The overbearing heat, the ever-looming threat of Zariel's forces. You've been seeking any chance for respite. This was just the stroke of luck you needed. Life is looking up.
Thou wert called here, some from above, some below. For with thine bond, together thou hast kept the wheel of fate spinning when it threatened to halt. Though thou wert drawn far apart in the months after the collapse of the Absolute, tonight, fate renews thy bond once more. Thou shouldst take care to preserve it. It is a great weapon, wielded in the hand of good. Go. Know one another once more.
My love. Oh, gods. I smell like a 70-year-old cinder. Withers yanked me from Avernus with my blade halfway through a Cambion's belly without so much as a chance at washing up. And from the smell of it, you're in the same condition. By the 9 hells, think of the stories we could tell. The demons we've disintegrated, the devilkin we've bled. You must have a favorite, yeah? A fight you still savor. You were amazing. When it was over, all that remained was a pair of paltry wings atop a pile of viscera. The hells fear your name, and the Sword Coast hails it. My lover, my legend. But we should get back to the celebration. Unless there's something on your mind. I won't lie. Losing the Eldritch Blasts and the Hexes took some getting used to. Nothing but void, where once there was hellfire. But you stoked new fires in me. The Blade of Avernus is now the ranger he was destined to be. He's doing well. The rebuilding of Baldurs Gate continues apace. And he's back in his element, commanding the Flaming Fist with brave heart and no shortage of empathy. The likes of Gortash can bend people's minds with a few chosen words. No tadpole needed. Bane's chosen primed the Fist for a war they weren't meant to win. He convinced them there was an assassin hiding in every shadow, that cruelty was the correct answer to crisis. With a few exceptions, fathers pardoned every last Fist. If my forgiveness not be Tyr's will, so be it. I shall forgive them all the same. His words, not mine. He still believes in the bow and the blade, but he's teaching the Fist a new lesson. Valor is found not in the wounds you inflict, but in the lives that you have bettered. May they all take it to heart. The woman's an expert on devils and their infernal tricks. And she's got some thoughts about my old sending stone of an eye. If my patron could use it to track me, we might be able to track her. Or so the theory goes. We meet in a 10-day. If the Diabolist's right, the eye could lead me right to Mazora. It's past time her old pet gets to sink in his fangs. Go on, my treasure. The night's young. You shouldn't waste a moment of it. Or waste a single drop of wine, for that matter. I plan on downing half a bottle myself. Oops, did I say half a bottle? I meant half a dozen.